Hey again, and welcome back. A cool Craigslist find for you today. A lot of you who were watching this channel had one of these when you were growing up, but I did not. I actually started electronics a little bit later in life, and so I was stoked to find this for really cheap. It was about $4.50 or something US. What is it, you may ask? One of these. It's one of these sort of arrangement of components with the most important part, a guidebook that shows you what circuits to make and how they work or whatever. This is Canadian version, so there is English on one side, French on the other. So this is actually double the size that it needs to be. But yeah, let's take a look at what's inside. So we're going to look at the book a little bit later. First, let's look at... Oh, we got a whole bunch of wires in there. Let's take a look at the kit itself. There we go. So quickly looking around, we got a bunch of resistors here. 100, 470, 1K, 2.2K, 4.7, 10K, 10K, 22K. There's not a big selection of multiple resistors. So I see 10K is repeated, and that's about it. However, looks like some of the components have their resistors already. So the 7 segment actually looks like an 8 segment possibly, because I see 8 resistors, so the dot's probably active. So it has its own resistors. You got LEDs here, little red guys with their own resistors. Probably have some resistors connected to these things, but let's go around the kit and see what we have. So we have a transformer. So the transformer, and it looks like there is a center tap on the other side. So that could be interesting. We've got a few inductors on this probably ferrous core for a radio antenna, FM radio or AM radio antenna, I guess, because it's so massive. And this here is a tunable capacitor, so variable capacitor. Some spare terminals over here, a speaker here. We've got an integrated socket, quad 2 input NAND. It is a 9451, it says on the chip. Not quite sure what it's supposed to be. A dual op amp, BA728, and that's pretty interesting. They have everything labeled out, which is really nice. 7 segment display, a photocell. It's a cadmium sulfide cell, I think, not sure. The LED's red. There's a potentiometer here, very nice, with the 0 to 10. Two PNP, 1 NPN transistor. The PNPs are A733, and the NPN is C945 for the transistor. We've got 2 germanium diodes, 1 silicone diode. We've got a dual position switch. So one of these will be common. It looks like it's a dual. Is that single throw dual pole? Because there's 2 different sides of it. Got a little contactor switch there. I'm sure it's just a little piece of metal. Bunch of electrolytic caps, bigger ceramic caps and smaller ceramic caps, and batteries. And I think that just about covers everything. So let's take a look at what it looks like on the underside. So here we've got a 6AA holder. And then here is our dual op amp, our NAND gate. Here's a speaker. It looks pretty big. It's a half watt, 8 ohms, but it's a fairly chunky boy. This has come undone because of the time. I think this was probably from the 90s or the early 2000s. Potentiometer just looks very standard down there. That's fine. What is this? Oh, that's our variable capacitor. So you can see it spinning there. Change the capacitance as it goes. Very nice. Yeah, looks like this is a single dual pole, dual throw. I think it's a DPDT. If it's not that, let me know in the comments below. I'll probably have looked it up by then, but that anyways. There's our 8-segment display, 7-segment display. Looks like they're all soldered onto these little boards, and then these little wires come off of them and just wrap around these springs. So the springs are actually twice as long as they need to be. It's very interesting. And there's a whole mess of wires coming from the batteries into here, because once you put all the batteries in, you can select the voltage. You have access to 1.5 volts on both sides, 4.5 volts on both sides, and if you put them all together, 9 volts. So that's pretty cool. I think the first thing we should do, because this is a this was gotten on Kijiji, or would be the Canadian equivalent of the Craigslist. I think we should test all these components and see what we get. So I just have my component tester here plugged into a power supply up there, and I'm feeding this with 9 volts, and I have a couple of random wires from the kit. So again, it's not really, I haven't tried this kit before, it's just the stuff that comes with it. I think it's important to give this a test, because I'm not sure if any of the parts will be, faulty. So let's start with something simple. So what about these diodes? So the kind of the point of this kit is you can make quick connections. It's like even more basic than a breadboard. So like that. All right, and let's give this a shot. Hopefully you can see that well. A capacitor. Uh-oh. It may have a blown diode. That's not good. Maybe the connection's not great. Who knows? Let's try once more. Yeah, it's telling me capacitor. Uh-oh. Not liking what I see here. Let's try another diode. No, it's true. This was it's an old lady who told me that it was her kids, and he wasn't so interested in electricity, so maybe he did blow diodes. I don't know. A capacitor. Oh no. Are we gonna run into these things being destroyed? That's not good. Okay, that's a diode. This one works. But these two do not. Maybe the germanium diode isn't a profile loaded into this. I'm going to check that with my multimeter after. Let's see how well it figures out this potentiometer. So 1, 2, and 3. Actually, it would be nice to know what kind of total resistance is in there. All right, let's give that a shot. Should be fairly easy. It's a resistor, really. Yeah, okay, so looks like we have like 45K across, so probably a 50K pot. Yep, that works just fine. Let's check the transistors. So this should tell us that it's a PNP transistor. Let's give that a shot. Yeah, PNP transistor with an HFE of 284. It's a very nice gain. Check this one too. Transistors are kind of easy to blow, so I hope they're not blown. If you follow the instructions, you shouldn't be able to blow them, but if you go right across a diode, yeah, PNP, that works. If you go right across the diode with the alkaline batteries installed, or even some high-powered nickel metal hydride, You're going to run so much current through that poor little diode that it'll die for sure. This one should be NPN. Yeah, this one works as well. That's awesome. I wonder if it... I don't think it knows an op amp, does it? I doubt it. We're gonna try it, but I don't think it'll figure out an op amp because there's gonna be no power to it. So I don't think there's any way it could know that it's an op amp. That would be crazy if it did, though. Let's see. Diodes. Okay, so it's reading the input diodes. Okay, that's fair enough. Let's see about this LED. Oh, wow. I didn't notice this. You can use the LED without the resistor by using these two leads, or with the resistor with these two leads. I'm going to give that a shot here. I'm going to go one there, and one there, and let's see what it thinks of that. I should see this light. Yeah, it's lighting very dimly. Two diodes, though. Interesting. Let's try without this blue in. So that one's just floating in the air. Okay, just a diode. All right. Let's see if I put this blue back in. Take this black out. Just a diode. Okay. So we're good. Let's test these other two here. So far, these diodes might be blown. These two germanium ones. That one's good. Oops. Oh, can't reach over. Okay. Let's give that a shot. Yeah, it works. Now again, I don't think this input NAND will work. Let's see what it does with the speaker. I've never seen what a component tester will do with a speaker. There we go. It's making noise. Inductor. Well, it's not wrong. It does work as an inductor, although it's not technically an inductor. Let's see if it picks up. See if it picks up the transformer. I doubt it will, especially if you use, because it only measures through 3 wires. So it'll probably pick it up as an inductor, because for it to be a transformer, you'd have to have at least 2 on one side and 2 on the other. So I don't think we're going to get that. Resistor, interesting. Very interesting. And what about up here? That for sure, if it's an isolated transformer, it should for sure give us inductor. Yeah, there we go, inductor. All right, and let's see if this variable cap still works. Yeah, capacitor. So 95 picofarads. I'm going to turn it. Try it again. Oh, doesn't know. Turn it back a little bit. That's interesting. Might be up over the capacitance maximum. Yeah, capacitor down there. Okay. Well, that's good. So let me see if we can make a simple circuit, and I'll bring you right back. Okay, so I started ultra simple. We got 9 volts going to here, which is the center segment of our LED display. That goes to this little key switch here, and then back to ground. So survey says, I don't know if you can see that. It is working, but it's super boring. Oh well, let's make another one. So I've made this circuit here, the first circuit in the book, which is the electronic woodpecker. So presumably what's going on here is we've got 9 volts feeding the circuit. We're using a PNP transistor, and I feel as though looks like we're going to be oscillating this coil by activating and deactivating, or this coil, this transformer, on this side of the transformer, by activating and deactivating this PNP transistor here. And we should also be able to control the speed with our 50K pot. 9 volts feeding to the circuit. Let's see if it works. Got a pot in the middle. I know it's just a mess of wires, but instead of the wires being color coded, they're actually length coded. So I'm going to press OK on my, I just have my power supply 9 volts here. Yeah, it works. It's getting faster when I change this pot. And slower. I wonder if this will work going through an LED instead. Because instead of making noise, what if it was just a visual thing? The only thing is it's not bidirectional. Nope, doesn't look like it. Nope, can't seem to generate enough current, or maybe enough voltage to turn on the LED. What happens if I put it over here? No, I don't think that's lit. Okay, so I guess we're stuck with the annoying speaker noise. I wonder if this is an amplified speaker. There is an amplifier here. But I wonder if this speaker has a amplifier in the board behind it. As voltage drops, so does the frequency. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, great success. $8 Canadian, $4.50, $5 American, something like that. Craigslist find. I'm quite happy with this, and I feel as over time we're probably going to go through these circuits here, and not only will we assemble them, but we'll also, probe them with multimeters, with the oscilloscope, etc., to actually see how they work. So this is going to be a fantastic learning tool for me, for you, for beginners, and just fun for everybody. At least I hope so. Thanks again for watching.